Hey, it's your host Tinto, and I have exciting news to share with you before we get into this weekend's episode. The romantic dramedy fiction podcast called Private Affairs, inspired by true events, is now live. In season 1, Veronica, also known as V, a recent male-born transplant from Zimbabwe, unexpectedly finds herself in a situation with a charming Aussie doctor. She quickly has to learn how to keep her wig on when things get sexy, as well as navigate other complexities of an intercultural relationship. This project is sponsored by the Victorian Government of Australia through Creative Victoria and will be available wherever you get your podcasts. For more information, head over to www.privateaffairspod.com. I'm in. You should.
Is that a breakup?
I think we have a situation right here.
On the feeling station.
Hello?
Hey, what's happening?
Nothing much, how are you?
You sound like you've just woken up. Can I have a bit more enthusiasm, please?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm trying to...
You trying to what?
Can you hear me well?
I can hear you loud and clear. You just sound like you're dead. What's going on? This is meant to be the exciting thing you've ever done in your life.
Exciting?
Yeah.
Not really.
I'm starting to
But
think I
okay.
called on a wrong day. Okay. So
Oh no, it's a good day.
so maybe let's start this as a counseling session. What is wrong?
Nothing is wrong, Tinto.
Welcome to the feeling station.
Thank you.
Nothing. How you feeling?
I'm nervous.
You nervous?
Yeah.
Guess what? You're only going to feel that for the next 30 seconds or so.
We'll see.
After
We'll
that,
see.
everything literally becomes a breeze.
All right. We'll see.
For those who are listening to this podcast for the first time, it touches on breakup stories that people would like to talk about with the view to give you, the listener, a lesson or lessons that you could learn from. And one of the reasons why the podcast is doing great is I do my best to keep my guests anonymous, which brings me to the exciting part for me, the part where I give you the name you are going to use for the duration of the episode. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
So we're keeping it African, and today we are in what's known as Cabo Verde. Do you know where that is?
No idea.
Oh yeah, this is where I get to show a bit of my geographic knowledge. Most people know it as Cape Verde, by the way, and that's probably
Okay.
something you've heard more familiar. It's off the coast of West Africa, and the name that I've given you, it's funny because I've definitely heard this name with the English people, but then when I was reading the history of it, it actually does come from Cabo Verde, and the name is Annelies,
Okay.
right? Which is Annelies, and what that means is gracious woman.
Okay.
Is that a description of you by any chance?
Not really, no.
Oh man, this is the second time it's happened, man. You know,
No, I'm joking.
I normally have
know how
something.
this name thing is important to you.
Yeah, but no.
But like,
This don't mean shit.
no. Actually, no, you did it.
Okay, so you just need to remember that, right, Annelies?
Okay.
And what's the name that you're going to give the guy you're going to talk about today?
I'll call him Craig.
Craig.
Mhm.
Okay, is there any specific reason why you chose Craig?
No.
No? Okay. And the other fun bit, which is another thing why the podcast is popular, is there are some real life lessons that people learn from the story that you're going to share. How many lessons do you have for me today?
Probably 3.
3? Okay.
Yeah.
You want to shoot? Let's have the first one.
Okay, so the first one is, like forgiving. I think my lesson on that is just remembering that by forgiving, we allow ourselves to heal
Ooh.
and, just be free from other bonds from like past, from like the anger or, the frustration and all
Yeah.
of that.
So pretty much learn to forgive yourself.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Forgive
Uh-huh.
yourself, forgive, the people that hurt you.
Nice.
Okay.
Lesson number 2.
That relationships cannot survive on love alone.
Ooh, you see, this is something that I'm always, well, not always, but it's something I've said a few times. to say that if you're making love the center of everything and the be all of you guys being together, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Because
True.
once that love dies, literally everything else is just going to crumble. So
That is true.
So the lesson is relationships are not held together by love alone.
Yes.
Okay, right. And the third lesson.
Life goes on.
Hey,
That's the third lesson.
I love that one. In every, life goes on. I bear testament to that for more than just relationship reasons. Right. Okay. Those are the three lessons wrapped up for me. I'm quite keen to get into the story about Annalise and Craig.
Okay.
So where did you meet Craig?
At my parents' house.
You met Craig at your parents' house.
Yeah, he came over with a mutual friend that we had, and
Okay.
he just came over for a bit and he left. And then after I told his friend, like our friend, that I think he's cute.
I'm feeling your homie.
And I was just like, yeah, he's cute.
So was
whatever.
this you shooting your shot?
No, it wasn't. It was just me just saying it. Like I just said it.
For what reason, though? I can't just randomly say, "Oh, that girl is hot," unless I'm feeling a type of way about someone.
If I'm talking to my friend, like, hey, like, this guy's actually cute. Like, if we're, yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense.
All right.
And then, so he asked his friend for my number, and I think because I'd already said that I thought he was cute, his friend just like went on and gave it to him. And then when that happened, he texted me and he's just like, hi, I'd like to get to know you. We should hang out. And we went to the same school. So he asked me, he's like, what time are you done with your classes tomorrow? We can hang out like after class.
Yeah.
And so, we hung out, and can you imagine this man took me to McDonald's for our first date?
Well, do you know what? I'm going to be careful how I react to that.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm going to be careful how I react to that because maybe that's a good thing.
In what way?
In the sense that he's trying to show you he's a chilled and laid back guy and he could go anywhere and everywhere. You tell me what going to McDonald's felt like for you. What did it mean to you?
No, for me, it's something that if I don't go to McDonald's, then it's not something that I would it would be my first option.
Right.
And I think I am all for laid back dates. Like I don't mind going for a hike for a date. Like it's like you don't have to spend money to go on a hike. And same thing with the McDonald's. It's not about the money. It's just.
So what was it about?
I guess it was just standards that you you have for yourself as a person.
Well, check this out then. Yeah. I might think that it's a great and big deal to have a meal from the Hilton Hotel. Right?
Okay.
But then the guy who you're going to date with, because he's used to spending money in places like the Ritz-Carlton, if you were to take him to the Hilton, he'll be like, ew. And that wouldn't be fair on you, would it?
It wouldn't.
Yeah. And that's why I'm asking the question, because, I mean, this guy at McDonald's, to me sounds like the kind of thing I might potentially do. Not that I'm trying to be a broke ass fella, but I'm just trying to say to you, okay, do you know what kind of person are you? Would you be okay for us? Money can be a real thing within relationships. Right?
Yeah.
If at some point we became so broke as a pair, would you be okay with me taking you and feeding you to McDonald's? That's the sort of thing I might be after. And I know people are probably rolling their eyes as I'm saying this, but I don't know. I think it was okay. But
no.
Yeah, you're still not having it. I haven't sold you.
No.
Okay, right, go on. Okay, fine. So you went to McDonald's, yeah? What did you have at McDonald's? Out of curiosity.
No, I just ordered a coffee because I'm like, I already ate. And I'm just like, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, that happened. And So we just started spending more time together. We didn't put a label on whatever it was that was going on. So we'll just like meet up, just hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And
did that hanging out have some intimacy?
Just kisses. That was it.
Okay.
I was still a virgin then, so it was. We just started hanging out, and because we didn't have a label on things, he would, like come with other girls that he's seeing. Like if he was coming to hang out with, so he would come up with other girls that he's seeing.
What? And did you know you were seeing these girls?
I did, because like our mutual friend would tell me like, yo, this guy is,
Damn.
He's out there. And I refused to listen.
Did that bother you at all?
It did, but I felt like I was already getting like, emotionally attached to this person. And I was just like, oh no, it's a phase. It'll end. Like he can do whatever.
Yeah.
So we got into this big argument and we stopped talking for a bit. And during that, that period, I met this other guy. And funny enough, like our mutual friend is the one that introduced me to this other guy. Mm-hmm. So she's like to me, oh, he's a good guy. He'll take care of you. Like, he's a sweet person. Like, he's a reasonable person compared to the previous guy.
Yeah.
And so I started talking to this guy, and turns out he knew Craig.
Mm-hmm.
So when I told him, he's just like, well, I know Craig, and we can still get to talking, but I need to make sure that you're over Craig, like completely over him. So I'm like, yeah, no, but we're good. We're not going to do anything. Like, no, him and I are done. Like, he made me upset, and that's it. So fast forward, we, this other guy, I'll call him, I don't know. I'll call him Tendai.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I kind of started there because that's my name, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about being part of this conversation.
Well,
yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so it's called Tendai. That's cool.
But yeah, so Tendai invites me to this party, and he's like, "Let's go to this party. You'll like it." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then, for some reason, the day off the party, he just tells me, "Oh, I can't, we can't go together as a couple, only because, there are a lot of people that I know there, and I just don't want people, jumping to conclusions since we're not dating yet." And I was like, okay, cool. Turns out this party was like his girlfriend's party.
Jesus.
And so we went there, like a couple people from the party, like just had been with him, with Tendai. And so it was like a very awkward situation for me.
These boys were doing the most,
honestly.
Both Craig and Tendai, there's some naughty fellas, aren't they? Because Craig, would come with girls that you would know he's with, and then Tendai is saying, let's go to this place, but we can't be known to be a couple because it's his girlfriend's place and other girls.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
I have no idea. It was because I didn't believe it at first, but then I just remembered, his our mutual friend had told me that, oh, he's out there, and I didn't think it was that serious.
Damn, that is mad. And your friend had said that Tendai is sweet and would be good for you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand what friend would lead me to a lion's den like that. Is it because your friend didn't really know what Tendai was about?
No, I think she knew.
So what did she mean when she said he was a sweet guy when this guy is clearly a lion?
I have no idea. I mean, we're not friends anymore.
Okay. That was going to be my next question. That are you guys still friends? Okay, but clearly not. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So when this happened, we're at Tendai's girlfriend's party and everyone's chilling. Craig shows up and I am just there like, okay.
Who did Craig show up with? On his own?
And just by himself, yeah.
What? Okay.
So Craig
Alright.
shows up and we're just there like we're hanging out, and then he found out I was hanging out with Tendai.
Mm.
And so he came up to me and he's like, I'm not cool with you hanging out with Tendai. And then I asked him why, like, he got into a whole argument, like, why, like, we're not together.
Yeah.
And, you've been doing what you've been doing on your own. But, like, it didn't make sense. So we went to the club after, and Tendai left his girlfriend. Craig came. So it was Tendai, Craig, our mutual friend, and I.
Yeah, this really, I'm actually visualizing this as if I'm watching a damn TV show.
So, like, I figured that, Tendai had invited me to his girlfriend's party. And when I asked him, he was like, I knew you wouldn't come if I told you. And, we were fighting and we just made up. So I'm still trying to figure it out. So Craig, then we're at the club, and I don't know, there was this fight that happened in the club, and I wanted to leave. So I was just like, I'm gonna go home. And then Craig was like, okay, like he walked me outside, and he's like, will you be my girlfriend? So I'm ready for this. Like, I've liked this guy for the longest, and like it was the first time he's asking me to be his girlfriend. I was like, yes, let's do it.
But hang on a sec. At this point, did you know whether he had a girlfriend or not? Because Craig to me sounds like a loose cannon who would still be having some women floating about.
Yeah, I did not know
Why?
that. Like, I wasn't like sure if he had a girlfriend or not. But like the fact that we had been hanging out, and from before he told me he didn't have a girlfriend. So I just took that information based on whatever had happened before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So fast forward, we're in this relationship. He meets my family. He meets my sisters first. Believe me. Okay, he meets my sisters first, and he meets my sister's husband, and then he met my parents. So we were getting pretty close, like in the relationship, and I thought everything was cool. And so this one time I had my graduation. Well, when I was graduating, he came over for like the ceremony, and he just chilled. I think it was just like 2 hours. So, and I had an after party at home, and he just dropped me off at my party, and he's like, I need to go. And
okay, tell me you asked him where he needed to go to.
Yes, I did. I was like, where are you going?
Yeah.
Like, this is, our time, whatever. It's just, I just want you to be there. And he's just like, I don't feel comfortable being here. So I'm just going to go.
What was making him uncomfortable? Because he's met your family, he's met your friends, you guys are really close. So what was making him uncomfortable?
I'm not sure. Like, I got so upset. So I'm one of those people that get upset and just don't want to talk at all. So whenever he said, I'm going, I asked him where he's going, and I got upset. I'm just like, okay, just go. Like,
Okay.
Yeah. So after that, the next morning, like, he texts me around 3 a.m. and he's just like, I love you. Like, after the whole graduation thing, he just texted me and he said, I love you. And the next morning, like, I didn't respond to the message. And then the next morning, he's like asking me, why didn't you respond? And can you imagine this man says, did you leave me some fruit from last night?
Bro, you could have eaten at the party, fam. if you're uncomfortable, I'm not thinking about leaving you food, am I?
Yeah, I was confused because I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. We argued a lot in this relationship, so it would like break up and make up, and he moved to a different city, which was like an hour away from me. So I would see him on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we'll hang out. I would go to his place and we'll just hang out. So this one time, I think it was one of either Tuesday or the Thursday that I was supposed to go over. I called him and I said, I'm coming, but he didn't pick up his phone. So usually if his phone, like he doesn't pick up his phone, he still leaves like the door open, like for his apartment.
Okay.
And I got there and his door was locked. And I keep calling him because he knew I was coming. So I was like, why are you not picking up? And then he didn't pick up. So I stayed there like outside for like 10 minutes and I decided to leave, to go back. And for some reason, I just told myself, like, just go upstairs like one more time and check if he's there. I go there and this girl was leaving their apartment.
Oh.
I did not want to think the worst since he had roommates. So I was just like, probably,
one of his roommates.
I got there though, like when I got in, his door was open and he was sitting on and texting on his phone. And there was also like a laundry basket by the doorway. So I get into his room and I ask him like, hey, like I've been calling you. And he's like, I just woke up. I was like, oh, okay. I just left that. And then he's like, oh, I'm coming back. I have to go somewhere. So he takes the laundry basket downstairs and I go to his bathroom and there was a bottle of like lube. Right.
Whoa.
And so he comes back up. I'm asking, I asked him, I was like, hey, why'd you go downstairs? And he's like, oh, that girl's my friend. She was doing her laundry here.
Okay.
And then I was like, I thought you said you just woke up.
Yeah.
And then he said, yeah, well, she was here and she just took her laundry downstairs, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't ask him about the lube. I was just like, okay, I'm going to go home. And on my way home, I was like, we need to take a break. And his response, like, yeah, I was thinking the same. So when I said it, I didn't mean it.
Oh, no, not one of those. Oh, man.
I did not mean it at all.
So why did you say it if you didn't mean it?
I just wanted attention. Like, I just wanted him to know that, like, he needs to, like, focus on our relationship. Like, he needs to, I don't know. Like, I was just trying to get his...
Okay, so when things took a twist like that, such an unexpected twist, what went through your mind when he said the same thing?
I was just like, he's not serious. I remember, I just started crying. I am a big crier, and I just started crying. I'm just like...
As you were driving back home?
Yeah. And so then when I got home, I remember that night I couldn't sleep. And like, I was convinced that I loved this guy. And... with me loving him, I guess I just told myself, like, I'll take whatever bullshit comes with this relationship. Oh, sorry for my language.
But why were you prepared to take bullshit from a relationship?
I just thought that's what people do, like ride or die.
What would make you think that, though? Because but when I think about relationships, I think about happy people that don't have any problems, or if they do, they can at least work through them and they come out stronger.
Yes, I think I was stuck on the working through things, and this was my first love. He was, the guy that I lost my virginity to, and he was the first guy that, I fell in love with. So I was just convinced that we were going to be together like forever, and I just needed to stand some things. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah. It makes sense, and it's not unusual to do that sort of thing, because there's an episode that just came out, and the girl in there was just saying she begged him constantly and apologized constantly, even for things that she knew she didn't need to apologize for. But if that meant that she was still around, it was good enough for her.
Yeah.
So you taking this bullshit doesn't sound like it's unusual or abnormal.
I honestly, I don't know. I just thought that's what happens.
Yeah.
Well, that's what people tell themselves when they're in love. I honestly wanted out of the relationship, but I guess I wasn't confident enough to tell him.
So when you say you weren't confident enough to tell him, do you feel that perhaps you hadn't felt enough pain to push you off the edge and say, nah, this is not working?
Yes.
Because if you really want out of something, I would hope it's easy to do for you, but because you felt you were so deeply in love with him, did you perhaps question that decision based on the fact that you were deeply in love with him?
I guess. I guess considering I just did everything because I was in love with him. So I guess.
What is it that made you want to be out of the relationship anyway?
Just he never used to communicate, and then you go there and there are all these signs that like after the whole thing with the girl leaving his apartment, I knew, a part of me knew that he had cheated on me, but I didn't want to accept it. But if I sat down and I thought of it, I'm like, okay, I shouldn't be with a guy that treats me like this. And then the other thing, he had met my family, he had met my friends. He was, I've never introduced a guy. At that point, I had never introduced a guy to my family. So it meant a lot to me.
So I got a question for you. When he decided to leave the party and say, look, I don't feel comfortable here, you had an opportunity to ask him, what are you uncomfortable about? But you chose not to. That's number one.
Yeah.
At the apartment, you saw traces of a woman and some evidence that potentially he's cheated, which you could have asked at that time, but you chose not to. Why did you have so much difficulty asking him those kind of questions?
I thought I'd lose him.
And
I thought he would.
And not asking him, you felt would keep him?
Yes.
Even though it's at the expense of your happiness?
Yeah.
It sounds like you eventually asked him about the lube and stuff.
I did. That day when I went home, I texted him, and I'm like, why do you have lube? And his response was, oh, one of my best friends brought his girl over, and they're the ones that used it.
Yeah, it was convenient for him that he had roommates, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I just said okay, and I left it at that. Fast forward, I went to his apartment again, and he had pictures of some females in his house, right? And not in his room. And they were hot, naked.
But when you say women, are these extracts from a magazine or?
No, just females in his room. This one girl was sitting on his bed, and she was half naked.
And they had a picture of that.
Yeah, he had that in
Like,
his camera.
in his camera.
Yeah, so
Okay, I guess that's what I was trying to find out because the way you presented that, I thought that maybe these were printouts.
oh no.
Okay, so this are on his like what, like a DSLR?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going through those pictures and I think he was at work at that time.
Yeah.
So then I texted him and I'm like, hey, who's this? And he's just like, oh, that's one of my friends. She came through and we were chilling. And I'm just like, did y'all do anything? And he said no. And I just left that.
Is he a photographer by any chance?
No, he's not.
So he couldn't even pull the line to say I was doing an artistic shoot. Like a boudoir type of shoot. He couldn't use that line, right?
No.
Girl, you should have flipped out.
I didn't. And
why the hell didn't you flip out?
I don't know. I don't.
Okay. Okay. When you say half naked, what are we talking about? They had their panty and their bra on.
Yeah, but they had like topless, maybe. Yeah, just like topless.
And this guy, it says these are my friends.
Yeah.
My goodness, I have no friends whose boobs I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? I'm trying to understand you as a person in this situation. Are you okay? Do you describe yourself as non-confrontational by nature?
Yes.
Okay. That I guess that explains why you were taking all of this stuff in. But the danger with people like you is you absorb, and then when you erupt, it is so disproportionate. It's mad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It sounds like the story is heading in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'll let you lead.
Okay.
Go on.
So there are a couple incidences that happened when I was seeing this guy. The one time I just found like earrings in his apartment, and he's just like, "Oh, yeah, those are my friends. She took them off when she was here."
Did you know these friends?
I did not.
Wow. Yeah, I'm kind of speechless by now. Okay, now how long into the relationship was all of this happening?
Probably first, like after a year and a half, maybe.
If I was to see traces of a man in my lady's place, I know my heart would beat, and I would feel a type of way. So every time that you saw something, what did you feel emotionally?
It made me upset.
When you say upset, what are we talking about? Upset as in you cry or you became angry?
I cried. Like, I just cried. And he just said, no, nothing happened. She's just my friend. And I chose to believe that again. Fast forward, we ended up breaking up. When we broke up.
Who broke it off?
He did.
And what was his reason for doing so?
He said he wasn't ready to be in a relationship.
What? And you guys have been in this for over a year and a half?
Yeah.
A bit late, brother.
Okay. So when I'm in a relationship, I'm always there for my person. But I think at this point, he was like struggling financially, and it'd come to me and be like, hey, I need money for rent, and I would give him that money.
Well, why didn't he go to his damn friends? He seems to have a lot of them friends. Why doesn't he go to his female friends to help him out? Yeah, he was his girlfriend, but he's got girls that is taking shots of topless with earrings and lube all over the place. Go to your homies. That's the first thing I would have said to him.
I never thought of it like that.
So you just responded and said you were his girlfriend. But what does that matter? Does that mean you had a sense of responsibility over his welfare?
I believe that he would be comfortable and like asking me instead of like, other people out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was okay. I was okay with it.
Okay.
Then, simply because when I was like, at that time I had been working, but I really didn't need the job. So I was just like, yeah, I can help you. And I remember telling myself that, well, if I help him now, he's going to be my husband anyway. So
Wait, I'm laughing not because this is funny, but this is the first time you've dropped the word husband in this whole equation. So during this year and a half that you guys were doing stuff and you were loving each other and you were discovering earrings and lube, did he ever say to you that I'm gonna marry you?
No.
So where did the idea of a wife come from?
I don't know. I was just building castles in my head.
Oh, hey, yeah. Okay, all right.
So yeah, I did all of that. I didn't mind.
Let's talk financials. How much did you lose?
A lot.
Okay, how much is a lot?
A lot. I mean, I never calculated it, to be honest.
Let's have a rough estimate. Do you think you spent over $5,000 on this guy? $5,000?
Oh no.
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 Less than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I only paid for his rent for like 3 months.
Okay. What was his rental?
I'm sorry.
How much was his rent?
It was $600.
So about $1,800, normally $2,000. But remember, this guy's not working, so it's not just his rent, right? There's his food to think about.
I mean, he was working, but he had, he had to pay for tuition. He had to pay for, car insurance and all of that.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Jeez, man. Right. So you're thinking now, this, some of this $2,000 is going to come back, because I'm going to be his wife and all of that. I'm going to benefit in other ways. Yes.
Yes. And so fast forward, we broke up. He broke it off. He said he wasn't ready for that relationship. And the next day he came over. I was still staying with my parents, so he came over to my parents' house and he brought this new girl that he was seeing.
Wait a minute. I don't get this guy. I mean, how much disrespect can you give to a woman?
I don't know.
Like how right from early days, right before anything got heated, he would bring girls around you, and it sounded like it stopped, as in he wasn't bringing them around you. You'd still see them, but not bring them around you. Now he's bringing another girl to your house.
Yeah,
and you let him into the doors of your house.
No, I didn't let him in. He came and he was outside with this girl and they were chilling outside. And so I was like, what are you doing here? And he says, oh, I came to see your sister.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, cool. And then I got inside the house and I was crying. And I told my sister, like, hey, he wants to see you. He's outside. And I don't know what they talked about, which... I mean, at that point, I was just, I remember crying so much. It was just the longest couple hours of my life, just crying.
Excuse my French, but this guy's an asshole.
He was.
Because I'm still hung up on the fact that he came to your house with another woman that he was seeing the day after you guys broke up.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got to the car outside to ask him what he wanted, did he introduce the girl? Did he say who she was?
He was just no, he didn't tell me who she was. But
did you guys make eye contact with the girl?
Yeah, but we talked. He was just like to her, oh, this is, and then she's like, oh, sorry, my bad.
That's cool. She's just like, oh, this is blah 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 blah. Yeah, Annalise. Yeah. And what was her reaction?
She was like, "Oh, hi!" Like she was so friendly.
Oh my God, because she's been in the damn picture for ages. And now she can put her face to the name.
She was
Oh,
so
this guy,
friendly.
man.
She was so friendly. I'm going to call her Stacy and just leave it at that. So, when I found out they had been going out, like, I just let it go. I guess I let our relationship go. And I started, seeing a different guy. He stayed in Canada. And when this guy found out that I was seeing this guy, he was upset. He came and he's like, I loved you so much, but like,
Wow.
we just broke up and now you're in a relationship with this guy. And he just gave me the longest lectures.
How did you find out that you had another guy now?
I guess because we had mutual friends.
And they probably said something.
Yeah.
I can't stand Craig. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Because what guy comes with women to your house and then suddenly just because you're doing it feels hurt and feels it's okay to say I love you? This guy he was emotionally abusive.
Honestly, he really was. So it came. I broke up with the other guy that I had been seeing. And
what happened there?
We just, I guess, we thought we were ready for that relationship.
Okay.
I wasn't ready emotionally.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah. And so when I broke up with this guy, I started talking to Craig again.
Do you know why you started talking to Craig again?
I guess I just got lonely. For the most part. So I started talking to Craig again, and we went to this party together. While we were at the party, he goes down on one knee.
Oh,
Right.
Craig.
And
Okay. Yeah.
with the ring and all. And so while I'm telling him to get up, it came as a shock to me. I'm like, why are you, like, we've had issues we haven't dealt with. And so I'm telling him to get up, and, people start noticing this guy is on one knee and he's holding a ring. So the moment people started, they stopped the music, and I just left the room and just left him there. We never talked about it after, but we just argued a lot after that happened. So
question. Sorry, you built castles, right, in the sky about becoming wife, and here's the perfect opportunity to start moving in that direction, and you walked away from it. That doesn't add up to me.
Remember, Tinta, I had said that I wanted out. Like, I had built castles before, and at some point I wanted out of the relationship. And the only reason why I actually started talking to him again is because I was lonely. But
he's giving you a sign that you're never gonna need to be lonely again because you're gonna be my wife.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't at that stage. Like, I knew that we had issues that we hadn't dealt with, and for him to like ambush me, I feel like we could have talked about it.
I'm actually quite happy you pulled that move. I'm picturing myself at the back of that bar with a glass, just going, you had it coming, son. Wow. How did you feel walking away knowing that he was still on one knee and watching you walk? Did you feel empowered? Did you feel like, okay, I've got this in control now?
No, I was just like, I felt bad because I feel like he could have at least asked where I stand when it came to marriage or something. Like, I felt bad because he had to like deal with the embarrassment. But then I had also told him to get up and he didn't want to. So that wasn't on me.
Kudos to you for that, man. Honestly, I feel like I could just stand up right now and clap.
Yeah, so fast forward, one of my friends had just moved to the same state. This girl I had known her since I was around 6 years old. And, I was excited to meet her. I'll call her Amy. And so one of my friends had a birthday brunch, and she said, you should come. And I told Amy, like, hey, this is a nice time to meet people. If you want to come, just let me know.
Yeah.
I went to pick her up. She stayed in the same city as my boyfriend. I went to pick her up. She met Craig at that point, and like, Craig and I, ever since he had tried to propose, we had been just having like a rough patch, I guess. So he's just like, oh, let's go out for lunch after. Let's go out for there's like this ice cream place close by. So he's like, after the brunch, we can just go out and hang out there. So since I had gone with Amy, she came through. She came as well, and we were all, just hanging out. And my mom called me, and she's like, "Hey, can you go pick up your sister?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." I asked Craig to drop off Amy, at her place since it was far away from where I was going, and they were going in the same direction. So he said, "Yeah, sure." I got home and waited because they stayed like an hour away. So I waited for like an hour. I just texted her and I was like, I texted Amy. I was like, "Hey, you home?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm home safe. Thanks." For, letting me meet other people. And so she, like, we did talk that night. And then the next weekend, we decided to get a road trip. And I told Craig, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to take time to come to your place," because we were supposed to leave from Craig's place and then just all get into one car. So he's like, "Oh, I invited Amy to come with us." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I got there and I just told him, like, "Hey, I'm not coming up. Just like, I'm ready for you guys whenever you guys come down, I'm going to stay in the car." So they came, we went, we had a good time. And the next day, Amy and I were drinking. So when we were drinking, she says, she tells me, "Hey, can you ask Craig to bring us some alcohol, some more alcohol?" And Craig was at my sister's house, so he was like pretty close. And I asked him, I told my friend, I was like, "Hey, Amy, can I use your phone to text him?" My phone was out of battery. So when I text him, there were like messages before him and Amy, and I called Craig. I was like, "Hey, like, if you want to cheat on me, okay, but like with my friend." And he says, "I can explain."
Oh my gosh.
And so Amy's there, she's sleeping, and I let her sleep. Great. I didn't ask her anything. I just
So did you use that opportunity to go through the whole chain of texts?
I did.
What kind of stuff were they talking about?
It was just mostly like sexual stuff, and then at the end of
As
it,
in stuff they want to do to each other, or stuff they had done sexually.
Yeah, and then the last
to which one? Stuff they wanted to do.
Stuff they wanted to do. Yeah.
Jeez.
So the last text she had sent him was, "Hey, I think Annalise and I, we've been friends for a while. I've known her for a really long time. I don't think we should be doing this." So I asked Craig, I was like, "Hey, what happened?" And he's like, "Oh, the day that we had gone out for brunch, when you asked me to take her home, she said she wanted to come over to my place. And we went and we were just chilling and we were drinking and I just told him to get out." Like,
did he claim nothing happened?
He didn't. He said, "No, we something happened, but it's because he just said, oh, we were drunk."
Something like what? Kissing, or they actually had sex?
I think they had sex.
Now here's that thing again, where you could have asked directly, and that was the perfect opportunity to be clear about what they did. Why didn't you ask? Is it a case that you didn't want to know?
I didn't want to know, and I was still in shock. Like, I had just seen the messages, right? And then coming, like, just finding out about it, and then him telling, like, saying, yes, it's true, this happened. It was a bit of a shocker to me. And I was hurt. Like, I just started crying, and I told them to leave.
Was it really a shock though? Let's be honest.
It was.
Because this guy has shown you what he is from day one. And your homies, your mutual friends have told you, yo, this guy has been about and goes about. If a dog barks, it's a dog. If something meows, it's probably a cat. If this guy always has a woman, it's probably a hoe.
Yeah. I think, here's the thing. I think it would have made sense if it was someone else. But the fact that I had known this girl since we were 6.
So who were you more mad at, him or her?
I was mad at her. I was mad at both of them. But I texted her the next day, and I told her, "Hey, I forgive you."
Okay. I know you told me that the meaning of your name is not relatable. Gracious and what you've described are the same shit. What?
I did. I told her, "Hey, I forgive you. We're good."
Why did you forgive her?
I felt bad. I just felt bad. She had just moved, and despite things that had happened, I know she didn't have people to show her around and all of that. And,
wow.
and I don't know. I actually don't know why I forgave her.
Are you guys still friends today?
We're not. I wouldn't say she's my friend, but if we see each other, we're cool. Like,
you're cordial.
We can talk. Yeah. But yeah, that's that. I guess that was a breaking straw for me with Craig.
So what happened after that? Were you like, nah, this is it?
Yeah, I told him, hey, this is it. I can't do this. Like, Eve, it's crazy because, we broke up 2 years ago, and he still calls me whenever he needs something. And before you ask me why I don't block him or why.
Yeah, because that question is definitely coming, right? Yeah. Okay, go on.
I just think, sometimes he calls from a different number, but I don't know, I can't not help him knowing that he needs help.
But he doesn't care about you.
He doesn't.
He clearly does not. Right. I'm gonna chuck a lesson in there. So your first lesson is, you should always forgive, because by forgiving ourselves, we allow ourselves to heal and free from bonds of the past. Right. And then you said relationships are not held together by love alone. And the last one is life goes on. I'm gonna chuck one in there. It's important to value and love yourself more than others do. Because what is clearly happening here is you're putting somebody first and not yourself. And I know the world teaches that we shouldn't be selfish and all of that stuff. Bullshit. Okay. When it comes to you as an individual and the value that you place on yourself as Annalise, that is way more important than any other person's emotion and feeling. Because once you're able to put yourself first like that, you know what you're worth. And if you really understand what you're worth, there's no way you're going to be entertaining no bullshit from this guy. So let's go back to McDonald's. McDonald's was below your standard, and you were really unhappy with that because it's just not you. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that you're rocking with this dude, I don't know whether you still are or you were, is the equivalent of you being McDonald's. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
You know, a really low rating of yourself. And I'm hoping we're talking about the situation in the past, and we're talking about things that are not current.
Oh no,
Because if it is current, man, I really wish you would just cut this guy out, because the level of disrespect he has dished is beyond shocking, to say the
Oh
least.
yeah, no, it's all in the past.
I mean, and it's okay to be selfless, and it's okay to think about having others first. But nah, this is 2021, man. You know, Corona doesn't care. It will knock anybody out because it
That
puts
is
itself
true.
first, right? I think you need to switch that up. You genuinely do sound like a really nice person with a very big heart, and somebody out there deserves that heart, just not Craig.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I really don't like Craig. If that is not obvious enough, he's way too cocky and abusive for my liking.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like him either.
Okay, so how big a part does the fact that he took your virginity have to play with the way that you deal with him?
With the way that I deal with him, it doesn't hold much weight, I think.
So why is he so important to you that you always feel the need to help him out?
I think, to be honest, I guess when we're in the relationship where I constantly, said, I'll be there, like whatever happens, I'll be there for
But you're not his wife. Those are vows that are made at the altar.
That is true.
In sickness and in health. Blah, 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 until death do us part. Those are vows and commitments made at marriage. This guy is an ex. He's not even a boyfriend. He's an ex.
That's true.
Okay. So when was the last time he contacted you?
About like 2 weeks ago. But like before that, we hadn't talked in like a year or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, this is wild. Okay, so I guess, purely because of your first lesson, more the first than the last, where you say, forgive yourself and others so that you free yourself from the past, and free yourself from things like anger, and life goes on. Yeah. Those for me are really important. Do you feel like you've moved on? Do you feel like you've healed?
I do.
What makes you so sure?
Like when I look at the things that happened back then and who I was as a person, I think it's two different people from who I am now. Like right now, I want to live, life on my own terms. Like I don't want to do it for a relationship. I don't want to do things because I'm in love with someone. I will do things for myself. And it came with a lot more self-confidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that mean you had self-confidence issues before?
Yeah.
Were you aware of them, or these came to life more recently?
I think it came to light like right after we broke up. Simply because, I had dealt with all his issues, but like never once did I put myself first. And, like I said, I wanted out of the relationship, and I never,
acted on it. Yeah. Made it happen.
Acted on it. Yeah.
So are you seeing someone now?
Yes, I am.
Do you find that maybe you're a bit more caged up with him than you were with Craig?
I am.
So does that mean that you really believe what you've just said lesson 1 is? Because you said by forgiving you, we allow ourselves to heal. If you've healed, why are you caged up with your current boyfriend?
I think it's not being entirely caged up, but I think it's what came with the breakup. It's a part of me still needs to learn how to trust someone.
Yeah. And that's okay. You know, I think it's important for me to pick up and mention that is actually okay, because that's part of the healing process. You know, the healing process doesn't happen overnight, and a lot of it has to do with introspection. So you potentially you might be spending time saying to yourself, okay, I better not do this because I made this mistake with Craig. So it's a bit of trial and error.
Yeah.
And there's no real formula to say, okay, I nailed it and I got it right this time round.
That's true.
But just be mindful and careful that potentially you get rid of a good thing. Just trying to balance out what happened in the past. It's not easy leaving baggage in the past. I've brought loads of baggage in previous relationships before. But now I can look back and say, okay, that was a learning curve for me. Right, talk about a roller coaster. This has been one hell of a roller coaster, and I guess I need to say thank you for making time to share this breakup story.
Thank you for having me.
And for those who are listening to this episode of The Feeling Station, 3 lessons came out. I added my own. First one was, by forgiving ourselves, we allow ourselves to heal and to free ourselves from bonds of the past, which may include anger. Lesson number 2, relationships are not held together by love alone. 3, life goes on. And 4th, rate yourself, love yourself beyond any measure possible, because you matter. You're a queen, you're a king. Others, yes, they can come, but always value yourself as number 1. You've been listening to another episode of The Feeling Station. I'm your host, Tinto, and I look forward to catching you in next week's episode. Peace.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Satis andaro raini and chagezai.
Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over.
Satis andaro raini and chagezai.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Urudoi motor noto kujidziro amai.
Kujidziro amai. Love is a fire.
Urudoi motor noto kujidziro amai.